Hello, hi. I'm very glad that I'm invited to share with all of you today a topic on the AI-driven smart cities, building sustainable tech ecosystem. My name is Shafinaz. I'm the head of Technology Hub Development Division from Cyberview, Sendirian Berhad, which is the company we are located here in Cyberjaya. For many of you that may not be very familiar with Cyberjaya, we are actually located in a state of Malaysia called Selangor. We are very strategically located uh, from between the from the way the from the moment it's being landed in Kuala Lumpur International Airport to right down to the main city center of Malaysia, which is the Kuala Lumpur. So we are in the heart of between these locations, which is very much strategically next to Putrajaya, the centre of the government administration, as well as the busy buzz of the city of Kuala Lumpur itself, and also about 45 minutes away from the main seaport in Malaysia, which is Port Klang. And as a Cyberview Berhad, we are a government-owned company, majority owned under the Ministry of Finance Malaysia, and remaining by the government-linked companies, SIMW Property, as well as Pemodalan Nasional Berhad. Our core role as a tech hub developer, mainly as a master developer of Cyberjaya, with a main role in developing the technology ecosystem in Cyberjaya, so which encompasses of number one, and the Cyberjaya City Management in managing the city stakeholders, including from the local authorities right down to the businesses, communities. And it's also a very important role that we are playing in attracting, talking to investors, primarily in technology companies. We also manage the technology hub development and management, as well as developing the industry through our industry development initiatives, which I will explain in subsequently with more details of the programs and initiatives that we do. So for many of you that don't really know of the today's facts of Cyberjaya, we're in the land area of over 6,960 acres. We're coming to a 26 years of our anniversary as a city. And we are fully complete with the infrastructure. Back then, when the city was developed by the government in order to spearhead the part of the country's IT industry, in terms of the infrastructure as a city, we make sure that it covers in terms of the physical infrastructure as well as the soft infrastructure. And that includes, we are fully fiberized, over 350 kilometers of the fiber optic. We also have a power redundancy through our main utility partner, which is Tenaga Nasional Berhad. And also, because it's a city that focuses on the technology itself, we are also open to all the other new latest technologies that have been developed by the technology companies. That includes all the way to the most recent one, looking at the 5G infrastructure, and also supporting the IoT technology platforms and networks. And in view of the nature of Cyberjaya as a city that focuses on technology industry itself, Cyberjaya is where has been attracting the data centers. And today we are 90% of the data centers in Malaysia are actually located here in Cyberjaya. And our latest infrastructure includes the connectivity in terms of the MRT station, MRT Line 2, that we have two stations that stop in Cyberjaya, and that would, in a way, enhances the experience for to have more people to come over and to be here in Cyberjaya. In terms of universities and colleges as part of the ecosystem, has been playing a key role. We have 7 universities and colleges, also primary and secondary schools, local, domestic, and also international schools, and also completes with shopping centers, F&B amenities, and recreational parks as a work-life balance that we put emphasis for the companies and businesses and also residents that are here in Cyberjaya. We are over 140,000 of population. Primarily, a lot of them are actually working technology professionals as well as students. You know, in nature of having 7 universities and colleges here, a pretty high number of the population here are also from the students from the universities. And the city itself will not complete if we don't have the most important ecosystem itself, that encompassing not just from the talent side from the students as well as the people that are working, that means the working professionals, and also the technology companies that we have been supporting, of having the number of startups that have flourished here in Cyberjaya. Aside from when for Cyberjaya started with having more of multinational companies, it's great to see that it completes the whole ecosystem of looking at the development of the local or the domestic technology homegrown companies here in Cyberjaya. And over the years, Cyberview plays its pivotal role to enhance further the ecosystem through our initiatives, through which I will explain further in terms of our Cyberview Living Lab initiatives, whereby one of the signature would be in terms of our accelerator and few others in terms of having as a soft landing zone initiatives, some testing elements through our projects, and also testing routes that supports the technology, and most importantly, going back to the topic that we talk about today, which is on the AI driven smart cities, and through the building of the tech ecosystem. Okay. And this just gives a bit flavor of the type of companies. You can see some of the logos here from the multinational companies from all over the world. We have the latest edition here, which is Tesla in the mobility or transportation industry, that completes or further our, as far as the country is looking into electric vehicle industry and mobility. And we talk about connectivity earlier in terms of the physical, and now we need to look at the ecosystem, and that comes from the tech companies itself. And this also completes with the more of local companies that are embarking in this kind of technology. And what is unique about Cyberjaya, it also complements with the existence of key government agencies like MDAC, we have MARI, we have MITE, we have Futurize, that looks into the National Regulatory Sandbox. We even have the MCMC, the Multimedia Commission, the regulator. We have TM now having its headquarters here. These agencies plays an important role as being part of the ecosystem in Cyberjaya, more so when we talk about technology and also AI for the city to flourish, and also helping out the tech community ecosystem. And as I mentioned earlier, we have 7 universities colleges to date, Multimedia University being the leading universities, and the University of Cyberjaya into the life sciences, medical area. Our latest edition is at University of Malaya off campus, as well as the Malaysian security and investigation colleges that are just open here in Cyberjaya. And under the Revitalizing Cyberjaya Master Plan, we divided Cyberjaya into 4 areas, 4 zones. Where Cyberview is currently located, we are actually in the South Innovation District. This is very green at the moment. But when we first started, we for Cyberjaya itself, we were in building up more on the downtown. This is where the busy of the commerce and where the most of the concentration of the companies are located. And then we have the western side of it focuses on universities, colleges, education sectors. This is where we call nurture the talent, and also the community, the residential areas are. And we have the northern side, which will also be in the next northern of the global business district. And this is also where we'll be able to see more of the AI driven hub, and with the new development that Cyberview is curating together with other key stakeholders, with the new developments that would also attract and support the growth of the technology companies and other business investors, and which AI is one of the core components. The South Innovation District, where we are focusing right now in terms of some of the core development physical projects. And part of these clusters, part of the zone actually is for us to focus on developing 3 technology clusters. One is on the smart mobility, of which will be whereby the our unique value proposition for Cyberjaya itself, of aside from developing or enabling the tech ecosystem companies, as well as enabling them to do their testing of the technologies and innovation in the city itself. And this can be seen through smart mobility, whether you are developing into an aerial mobility, for example, that looks into drone or aviation or aerospace type, or it can even be the ground mobility, as simple as you can imagine. Now we're talking about electric vehicle in Malaysia. So when we talk about electric vehicles, not just the car, but it's also the charging infrastructure. That is the application of it. But behind it, the technology that's been developed, and companies that are looking into those kind of developing those technologies, that also encompassing of the AI, or even the cyber security and many more of the latest emerging technologies into to develop further this smart multi cluster. Then we have the smart healthcare. In a city, it doesn't complete when without healthcare facilities and amenities. But for technologies, there must be the developers as well, right? The technology developers. So we want to see the application of technology and innovation in the healthcare space. So this is where we're encouraging more of the healthcare solutions to be flourished and developed and be used as well by the communities, not just in Cyberjaya, eventually that can be adopted across the country and also regional. And Cyberjaya is very well known for its animation type of companies, and this is where digital creative come into play. But it doesn't just stop at the animation or games development. It also cuts across the software technologies around it. That also includes the artificial intelligence, the big data or the IoT type, or even a blockchain, and that will then complement, can able to also be cuts across the other two tech classes I mentioned earlier, the smart mobility and also healthcare. And to go specific of example, what I mentioned on these three technology clusters, one that where Cyberview has played its role in developing this smart mobility cluster, we supported the tech companies in testing their R&D or the technologies in an actual environment. So one of it that we are proud to say is the Cyberjaya My AV testing route. We first started with 7.8 kilometer from the in-campus within a confined space or properties owned by Cyberview within our buildings. And now we're able to have this kind of technology being tested in the public road, working together with the authorities like Ministry of Transport. The guidelines have been developed and refined further through our subsidiary Futurize that leads on the National Regulatory Sandbox, working together with technology companies like eMoveit that are venturing into the autonomous vehicle. And this would enable these kind of technology being tested or being used eventually in the actual public road. And this will not happen without the support and understanding from the local authority, especially the city council. And in this case for Cyberjaya, we work closely with Majlis Perbadaran Sepang. And we are also now working closely to have the second implementation with a longer route and enabling passengers to be riding on this autonomous vehicle while being tested and eventually being adopted. And as I mentioned earlier, electric vehicle is the trending today. We have, in fact, for Cyberjaya started this way back in 2016, 2017. This year, we are very proud that we're able to attract more significant known company like Tesla. But along that, also we have other local companies that also spearheading in this space. The EV players like Yinsen Green Technology Divisions are having its presence here, and they also work closely with the Green Tech Corp to enable the latest charging stations be deployed. And today we are proud to say that we have over 20 charging stations that are being deployed in Cyberjaya through the facilitation that Cyberview connect these companies to the other building owners or areas that are suitable for these charging stations to support the adoption of the electric vehicles here in this country. And smart mobility seems to be our core technology cluster that has significant success stories that also include in terms of micro mobility. And as micro mobility in this, I can share with you that came from an example of electric scooter. As we know that it's not allowed on a public road, However, what we've been working closely together with the authorities, the government has recently launched the guideline of active mobility that enable these micro mobility like the electric scooter to be used in the route that is allowed as work with the local authorities. And also now, aside from the ground side, we talk about drone as among drone that being used, but in a city is very important. It can be used for geomapping, for surveillance, and for us, Cyberjaya, we are the first in this country that have been approved with to have it a specific area as the drone testing zone. We work closely with Civil Aviation Authority and Futurize, and also the player like Drone Academy that allow the drone testing and also the certifying drone pilots that eventually allowing corporates as they have drone in being used in their companies businesses or in terms of controlling or monitoring whatever business that they're embarking on. So we, aside from this smart mobility, the other cluster, smart healthcare, this is where we are going to focus more, especially for next year. We started off with having the open up of our first public hospital here in Cyberjaya. From this hospital itself, we can see the development of the value chain across the healthcare sector, as simple as having more pharmacies, clinics. However, in operating or running or administration of these clinics, this is where opportunities arise from the technologies that are being developed and can be offered through these operations. Definitely, the likes of AI, IoT is very key that would enable the healthcare services be provided, whether across the enterprise, across the businesses, as well as for us, the consumer, the end user of the healthcare, in our, to get our healthcare services like going to clinics, getting the medication, having some medical records, all the bookkeeping and all that. So what you can see from this slide is actually among the players that we have been working closely with, and what we have here in Cyberjaya. That whether they are in the space of the academics, we have University of Cyberjaya that have a high focus concentration of producing talent in for the healthcare, um, as well as we have the Brighton Medical Center, not just providing medical services, but they also the use of technologies in running their operations, and very focused on niche, offering services through hematogenics, and the one and only clinical trials or for cancer research that are located here. So what we want to see now, to have these kind of companies also work across with the other companies, as you can, some of these companies or the logos that you see here, potentially they can be collaborating across. uh, One of the company can be, if let's say they're having a robotics for healthcare in auto guided vehicles that can be used in the business operation of the hospital or medical center for a more efficient use. And for this auto-guided vehicle or robotics in healthcare, behind it, the development also involves the AI technologies. So being in a smart city AI-driven type is more about application of the technologies. And in this context, we're talking about AI or even other emerging technologies in the industry or in the business operations or even in our daily lives. And it also will not be complete for these companies to, if for them to just work alone. The government also plays another important role to help further, maybe to boost some of the assistance that these companies, especially the startups, may require in terms of funding, in terms of market access to expand further, maybe in terms of regulatory issues. As you know, like healthcare is the highest regulated industry, and a lot of intervention may be required, or some assistance may be required from the government in order for them to sustain. Digital creative, just a quick glance. These are among some of the local Malaysian renowned brands in the animation space. And these, why is it important? How can this play a role in the AI? I mean, in terms of for them in developing these characters or IP, they may use those AI technologies as well, right? However, they can also be applied and work across with the smart mobility or healthcare to make it more of user UI UX friendlier, make it more catchy, so that it'll be more attractive, be it for businesses, corporates, as well as the consumer like us in experiencing those technologies. And this is where signature for Cyberview, how we play our role these past years through our Living Lab programs. It cuts across from what we call the pillar of talent. We're not just working today, we're actually preparing also for the future. So the future generation, that means from the younger talent, we need to be exposed, to be ready, equipped. So we have programs that tailor suit for the younger kids to be exposed on what's the emerging or technologies that we talk about, potentially to give them an expose, aside from them from just going to school, the extra interaction that would have with other technologies. And we also get the students from the universities to experience, rather than just from the textbook, but they also get to be exposed in the real life industrial programs and initiatives, or even through their research projects that can be tested or work with other industry partners. Accelerator Living Lab is actually where we facilitate the growth of our startups. Intervention in terms of refining further their business plan, able to demonstrate should these startups require further funding to go to market, able to pitch. At the end of the day, is about the growth of the ideas being adopted, getting the revenues, being more profitable, and able to expand further for the product development. And this is where Accelerator program actually plays an important role. And Pilot is the program which we enable the technology companies to test out the solution in a real life city environment. So, for example, like here you can see a person is Kumpo. Kumpo is actually a ride sharing on demand in the city. You're getting from point A to point B. This is something like the other e-hailing, but however, this is more like a ride sharing in one vehicle, and it's very affordable for the community. For us here in Cyberjet, it only costs like about RM1 per trip. And finally, Cyber Living Lab Enterprise. This is where we would like to see the growth of these companies, intervention in terms of the capability development through training, in terms of also the market access, networking, exhibiting, showcasing is a good platform for the tech companies here, those in Cyberjaya, to go further. Okay. Another signature that we have mooted with our collaboration campus program, as mentioned earlier in the slides, of where we have a big family from the multinationals or the local technology companies or the smaller ones. They need to know each other, right? Everyone will be just sitting in the office. However, we create this platform for the companies who we classify beyond just being a tenant in a building, to get to know what are the facilities available that they can make use of, or they can interact with other tenants, get to know more, or maybe they can will open up more opportunities for them to collaborate, whether it's for some cuts across product packaging, or even partnership in terms of market penetration, getting new ideas, and many more. We also, Cyberview, we can treat ourselves to not beyond just facilitating. We also can provide some of facilities that can be used by these companies. And I'm coming to my last slide. These offerings where we provide the value to the companies here in Cyberjaya will not materialize without the existence of the Cyberjaya Investment and Services Center. The center actually provides in terms of facilitating businesses' requirements. If you're a newcomer wanting to know more about Cyberjaya, or you want to set up who to contact, you want to have access to some of the facilities, or if even amenities, then we can put that connection, and also link it up with those respective contacts that we require. Even talent, you may want to hire or looking up for some other facilitation to set up the business here. So this is where we facilitate. Even looking at setting up office space, business location, not just for Cyberview. There are also other areas in Cyberjaya, and through other connections that we have, networks, that able to link these companies to fulfill some of the requirements as well. So that pretty much sums up the role that Cyberview play. Cyberjaya being the heading towards the global technology hub. What's most importantly, as a city, is the community or the ecosystem has to be in place. It's not, when we talk about ecosystem, it involves the talent, it involves the tech community, the business community, the residential community, the stakeholders community, access to funding, access to markets. It's just that these technologies are being developed. Could them be behind it that they are and looking into AI, and that eventually what we aspire to have these technologies also being adopted by the city. The city can be like in a big area, but it can even start in a small, within a confined building area that you own. Even that for Cyberview as well, we take this as an opportunity for us to be experiencing it in our investment properties, be it in our building as well in land that is about to be developed or potentially can be developed, as well as some other amenities for people to experiencing it, experience as in terms of the business operations, experiencing it as well as the community using that public facilities when we enable some of these new testing of technologies and innovation happen in many more here in Cyberjaya. With that, I hope that the sharing that I have given today would give more insights of what are the other opportunities that can be embraced from the sharing today. So I hope these are fruitful for you. Thank you.